Albert Einstein was brought into the world at Ulm, in Württemberg, Germany, on Walk 14, 1879. A month and a half later, the family moved to Munich, where he later on started his tutoring at the Luitpold Gym. Afterward, they moved to Italy, and Albert proceeded with his schooling at Aarau, Switzerland, and in 1896 he entered the Swiss government Polytechnic School in Zurich to be prepared as an educator in physical science and math. In 1901, the year he acquired his confirmation, he obtained Swiss citizenship and, as he couldn't find a showing post, he acknowledged a situation as specialized colleague in the Swiss Patent Office. In 1905, he got his PCP's certification. During his visit at the Patent Office and in his extra time, he created quite a bit of his surprising work, and in 1908 he was named Private Dozent in Bern. In 1909, he became teacher phenomenal at Zurich. In 1911, teacher of hypothetical material science at Prague, getting back to Zurich in the next year to fill a comparative post. In 1914, he was named overseer of the Kaiser Wilhelm Actual Establishment and teacher in the College of Berlin. He turned into a German resident in 1914 and stayed in Berlin until 1933, when he disavowed his citizenship for political reasons and emigrated to America to take the place of teacher of hypothetical material science at Princeton. He turned into a U.S. resident in 1940 and resigned from his post in 1945. After the Second Great War, Einstein was a main figure. On the planet government development, he was offered the administration of the territory of Israel, which he declined, and he worked together with Dr. Chaim Weizmann in laying out the Jewish College of Jerusalem. Einstein generally seemed to have a reasonable perspective on the issues of physical science and the assurance to tackle them. He had his very own system and had the option to envision the principal stages en route to his objective. He viewed his significant accomplishments as simple venturing stones for the following development. Toward the beginning of his logical work, Einstein understood the insufficiencies of Newtonian mechanics, and his extraordinary hypothesis of relativity originated from an endeavor to accommodate the laws of mechanics with the laws of the electromagnetic field. He managed traditional issues of factual mechanics and issues in which they were converged with quantum hypothesis. This prompted a clarification of the Brownian development of atoms. He examined the warm properties of light with a low radiation thickness, and his perceptions established the underpinning of the photon hypothesis of light. In his initial days in Berlin, Einstein hypothesized that the right translation of the unique hypothesis of relativity should likewise outfit a hypothesis of attraction, and in 1916 he distributed his paper on the overall hypothesis of relativity. During this time, he additionally added to the issues of the hypothesis of radiation and measurable mechanics. During the 1920s, Einstein set out on the development of brought-together field speculations, despite the fact that he kept on chipping away at the probabilistic understanding of quantum hypothesis, and he continued on with this work in America. He added to measurable mechanics by his improvement of the quantum hypothesis of a monatomic gas, and he has likewise achieved important work regarding nuclear change probabilities and relativistic cosmology. After his retirement, he kept on pursuing the unification of the essential ideas of physical science, adopting the contrary strategy, geometrization, to most of physicists. Einstein's explores are, obviously, all around chronicled, and his more significant works incorporate Unique Hypothesis of Relativity, 1905, Relativity, English Interpretations, 1920 and 1950, General Hypothesis of Relativity, 1916, Examinations on Hypothesis of Brownian Development, 1926, and the Advancement of Physical Science, 1938. Among his non-logical works about Zionism, 1930, Why War, 1933, My Way of Thinking, 1934, and Out of My Later Years, 1950, are maybe the most significant. Albert Einstein got privileged doctorate certifications in science, medication, and theory from numerous European and American colleges. During the 1920s, he addressed in Europe, America, and the Far East, and he was granted cooperations or participations of the relative multitude of driving logic.
Life resembles riding a bike. To keep your equilibrium, you should continue to move. Creative mind is a higher priority than information, for information is restricted, while creative mind embraces the whole world. An individual who never committed and attempted had a go at nothing new. You can't tackle an issue with the very outlook that made it. Endeavor not to be a triumph, but instead to be of worth. The inquisitive brain considers all that to be a potential chance to learn. I have no extraordinary gifts. I'm just enthusiastically inquisitive. Do whatever it takes not to turn into a man of progress, but instead attempt to turn into a man of significant worth. The best way to get away from the sensation of vulnerability is to embrace it and investigate it with a receptive outlook. Harmony can't be kept forcibly. It must accomplished by comprehend. To carry on with a blissful life, attach it to an objective, not to individuals or things. Look profound into nature, and afterward you will comprehend everything better. The distinction between an effective individual and others isn't an absence of solidarity or information, yet rather an absence of will. Try not to attempt to turn into a man of progress, however a man of significant worth. We can't take care of issues by utilizing similar mindset we utilized when we made them. The way to development is the presentation of higher components of cognizance into our mindfulness. Just a daily existence lived for others is a day-to-day existence beneficial. Avoid the people who attempt to disparage your desires. Little individuals generally do that. I never consider what's in store. It comes soon enough. The proportion of insight is the capacity to change when important. You are on the limit of accomplishment just when you continue onward, notwithstanding the chances. Scholarly development ought to initiate upon entering the world and stop just at death. Gain from yesterday, enjoy every moment, trust for later. It isn't so much that I'm so shrewd, it's simply that I stay with issues longer. The most ideal way to foresee what's in store is to make it.